everyone, welcome to SideQuest English, the podcast where we step away from the boring textbooks to explore fascinating topics, one random deep dive at a time.
And we have a really interesting one for you today.
We really do, but I actually want to start with a bit of a confession.
Oh, all right. What did you do?
Well, last night I totally fell into a trap. I probably paid a multi-billion-dollar tech company for the privilege of, temporarily elevating a chemical in my brain.
Okay, wow, that sounds very dramatic. What exactly did you buy?
A completely ridiculous, fancy stainless steel avocado slicer.
An avocado slicer. I mean, do you even eat a lot of avocados?
Not really, like maybe once a month, and I already own a knife that cuts avocados perfectly well.
Right, like any normal kitchen knife.
Exactly. But it was, 11:30 at night, I was staring at my phone screen, and my brain just convinced me that my life would be significantly better if I owned this one specific item.
Oh, I know that feeling so well.
Yeah, and I clicked the buy now button, I felt this huge, massive rush of excitement, and then I just went to sleep.
But let me guess, when you woke up this morning,
Total regret. I looked at my email receipt and the excitement was just completely gone. I literally thought, why did I just spend my money on this?
well, listen, you are definitely not alone. It's a feeling almost everyone listening to this has experienced at least once.
It really is.
But what most people don't realize is that this late-night avocado slicer purchase, it's not just a personal lack of self-control.
Right. It feels like a personal failure, but it's not.
No, not at all. It's actually the starting point of a massive hidden chain reaction. And that is exactly what our deep dive is about today.
Yes, we are looking at a really fascinating stack of sources for this deep dive.
We've got consumer psychology studies, economic research on local businesses, and some pretty shocking environmental supply chain reports.
Yeah, the goal of this deep dive is to answer a core mystery. Like, how did the modern convenience of one-click buying accidentally create an invisible global crisis?
And how exactly is it rewiring our brains and, our local neighborhoods at the same time?
So, if you are listening right now, I want you to think about your own recent shopping habits as we talk.
Yeah, think about the last random thing you bought online.
And pay attention to how you felt right before you clicked buy versus how you felt the day the package actually arrived.
Because I promise you, by the end of this deep dive, you will never look at that digital checkout button the exact same way again.
Okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with the brain chemistry because I really need to know why that late night purchase felt so incredibly important in the moment.
Right, the avocado slicer emergency.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what physically happened in my head when I saw that thing?
So, to understand the mechanics here, we have to look at how our brains process anticipation.
Anticipation, not the actual item.
Exactly. Based on the brain imaging studies in our sources, when you see a product you really want, a very specific region of your brain lights up.
What's it called?
It's called the nucleus accumbens. That is basically your brain's reward center.
Okay, the reward center.
Right. And when it activates, your brain releases a neurotransmitter called dopamine.
And just to clarify for everyone, a neurotransmitter is just a chemical messenger, right?
Yep, it's a messenger. And dopamine is the specific messenger that communicates pleasure, motivation, and excitement.
I've definitely heard of dopamine. People talk about getting a dopamine hit from social media and stuff.
Exactly the same thing. But the critical mechanism here, and this is the thing that companies completely take advantage of, is that dopamine is released in anticipation of a reward.
Wait, so the dopamine happens before you even get the thing?
Yes. The high actually comes from the anticipation of getting the item, not necessarily from owning it.
Oh, wow. So biologically speaking, the anticipation was the actual product I was buying.
Basically, yes.
It's kind of like how planning a vacation and packing your bag sometimes feels way more exciting than the actual trip.
That is a perfect analogy. You are buying a fantasy. From an evolutionary perspective, this actually makes perfect sense.
How so? Like back in the caveman days.
Yeah. Thousands of years ago, if humans were hunting or looking for food, they needed the motivation to keep walking, tracking, and searching for hours or days.
Right, because if they gave up, they would starve.
Exactly. So dopamine provided that energy and excitement to pursue the goal. It kept them going.
Okay, but once they actually caught the food and ate it,
They didn't need that specific motivation anymore. So the dopamine levels naturally drop.
wow. And today, my smartphone screen is just hijacking that ancient biological system.
Completely hijacking it. The brain loves the expectation of the reward. much more than the reward itself.
So my brain was giving me a dopamine rush just by imagining a perfectly organized kitchen and a perfect avocado toast breakfast.
Yep, you are buying a feeling, not a kitchen tool.
But surely we don't just buy random things for absolutely no reason. There has to be some kind of trigger that starts this whole process, right?
Oh, absolutely. The trigger is usually an emotional state. Psychologists in our sources call this emotional spending.
Or retail therapy, right? I think that's what most people call it.
Exactly. Retail therapy. Our emotional states are the main drivers here. If you are feeling really stressed out after a long day at work,
Which I definitely was last night.
right, or if you are bored, sad, lonely, your brain registers those negative feelings as problems that need to be solved immediately.
And shopping is just a fast solution.
It is a very fast, very easy chemical solution. It provides an instant temporary boost to your mood.
That makes a lot of sense. And I see that connects to deeper psychological needs too. In our research notes, there is a big mention of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes, Maslow's pyramid. It's a classic psychological model.
Just to explain it simply, it organizes human needs like a pyramid. At the very bottom, you have basic survival needs like food, water, and shelter.
Right, the stuff you literally need to stay alive.
But as you move up the pyramid, you have social and emotional needs. Things like the need for belonging, friendships, and the need for self-esteem or respect.
And modern e-commerce is incredibly skilled at targeting those higher level needs.
How do they do that? Like with ads?
With everything.
Wow.
When you buy a specific brand of really expensive running shoes, for example, you are probably not buying them just because they protect your feet from the ground.
Right, any cheap shoe can do that.
Exactly. You might be buying them because you want to feel a sense of belonging with a community of serious athletes.
Or like buying an expensive luxury watch. It's not just to tell the time.
No, it's because you need a boost to your self-esteem. You want to signal to other people that you are successful.
So you are basically attempting to solve an emotional or social problem with a physical product.
Yes, and the e-commerce websites know this perfectly well.
And they don't just sit around waiting for us to feel emotional, right? They actually design their websites to trigger that panic and bypass our logical thinking.
Oh, the design is incredibly deliberate.
I want to talk about how they engineer these digital traps. One of the biggest concepts in our sources is scarcity and FOMO.
Fear of missing out.
Right. But how exactly do they build FOMO into a website?
They do it through intense, data-driven design.
Yeah.
Tech companies use this process called A/B testing.
Okay, can you explain A/B testing for those who might not know?
Sure. They will literally show website version A to, say, 50,000 people.
Yeah.
And then they show website version B to another 50,000 people.
So two groups seeing slightly different things.
Exactly. So version A might just have a nice picture of a hotel room with the price at the bottom.
Very standard.
Right. But version B has the exact same picture and price, but they add bright red flashing text that says, only 2 rooms left. 15 people are looking at this right now.
Oh, I hate seeing that. It stresses me out immediately.
And I imagine the people who see version B book the room much faster.
Oh, significantly faster. The eye tracking studies and heat maps in the sources show that when humans see cues of scarcity, their behavior completely changes.
Because of the red text and the urgency.
Yeah, the red text and those flashing countdown timers, they create an artificial sense of urgency.
So my brain thinks time is running out.
Exactly. When you believe a resource is scarce, your brain actually shifts away from the logical part, the prefrontal cortex. And where does it go?
It moves into a panic mode driven by the amygdala, which is the part of your brain that processes fear.
Wow. So instead of asking myself, do I actually need a new pair of headphones? I started asking myself, can I afford to lose this amazing deal?
Exactly. The design literally forces you to make a fast emotional decision.
That is so manipulative. And they combine this panic with something called frictionless design, right?
Yes, frictionless design is huge. Friction, in this context, just means any resistance, physical effort, or time delay required to complete a task.
Like the actual work of shopping.
Right. Think about traditional shopping. If you wanted to buy a book 20 years ago, you had to find your car keys.
Drive all the way to the store.
Walk through the aisles, find the book, wait in the long line at the cash register, and physically hand over paper money to another human being.
That is a lot of steps. All of those steps are friction.
And that friction is actually a good thing for your brain.
Right.
It gave your logical brain 20 or 30 minutes to catch up.
Right. It gave you time to stand in line and say, wait a minute, I don't even like reading. I don't need this.
Exactly. You can change your mind. But now, websites use one-click buying.
A one click is dangerous.
It really is. Your credit card number and your home address are already saved on their servers.
Yeah.
There's literally zero friction.
The gap in time between wanting something and actually buying it is less than 1 second.
Your logical brain never gets a chance to intervene.
So for you listening right now, if you tend to shop online late at night when you are tired or stressed out, you really have to realize that this is a completely natural biological reaction.
You are not just feeling at self-control.
No. You are fighting against billions of dollars of technology and A/B testing designed specifically to hijack your dopamine system.
They want you to click buy before you can think.
But as we know from biology, dopamine levels cannot stay elevated forever.
What goes up must come down.
Right. And that biological crash is what drives the next huge part of this whole system. Because a few days after you click buy, the package actually arrives at your front door.
And reality sets in.
Exactly. You open the cardboard box, you look at the item, and the excitement is completely gone. In psychology, this chemical crash is associated with cognitive dissonance.
Or buyer's remorse, which is the more common term.
Yeah, buyer's remorse. It is that deeply uncomfortable feeling of regret when your logical brain finally wakes up, looks at the avocado slicer, and realizes your emotions made a terrible choice.
And that biological crash, that regret, creates a massive physical and logistical problem out in the real world.
Because you want your money back.
Right. Cognitive dissonance leads directly to our next major question in this deep dive. What actually happens to the physical item when you decide to return it?
This is where the story gets incredibly messy. Just from a consumer's perspective, returning an item online can be a total nightmare.
Oh, it is the worst.
I actually have another quick story. I recently bought a pair of shoes online because the website made it look so incredibly easy.
And let me guess, they didn't fit.
They looked amazing in the photos. But when they arrived, they were incredibly stiff and way too tight. So naturally, I initiated a return.
Sounds simple enough.
You would think so. But instead of just handing them back to a friendly cashier like in a normal store, I had to log into this complicated digital portal.
What, portals?
I had to print out a special shipping label, which meant I had to drive to a local library just to use a public printer.
Because nobody owns a printer anymore.
Right. Then I had to find a new cardboard box because I ripped the first one, buy packing tape, and drive across town to a specific shipping center.
That is a lot of friction for a return.
And it gets worse. After all that effort, the shipping company actually lost the package in transit for 2 whole weeks.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. I had to send 4 different angry emails to customer service just to finally get my money back.
Well, what's fascinating here is that your frustration is actually completely by design in some cases.
By design. They want me to be angry.
They want you to give up. The sources we reviewed highlight how certain online brands make the return process deliberately difficult.
Just to save money.
Exactly. For example, some fast fashion brands require customers to take specific photos of the clothing with the physical measuring tape next to it.
Wait, you have to prove the size is wrong?
Yes, just to prove the measurements don't match the website before they will even authorize a return label.
That is absurd. Who has the time for that?
Most people don't, which means they just keep the shirt and lose the money. Other brands, especially large furniture companies, might charge you a restocking and shipping fee.
I've seen that. The fee is sometimes higher than the cost of the item itself.
Right. And sometimes, if they send you a broken chair, instead of taking it back, they just mail you a second chair.
So you end up with 2 chairs.
But one is broken. So they leave you to deal with the hassle of throwing a giant piece of broken furniture into your own garbage. It's cheaper for them than shipping it back.
The whole system feels completely broken. But I want to trace the steps. Let's follow those shoes I returned. What actually happens to that box after I finally drop it in the mail?
Well, when you hand that box to the postal worker, it enters a massive, mostly invisible system called the reverse supply chain.
Your reverse supply chain.
And the scale of the system is genuinely difficult to comprehend. The global returns logistics industry is worth $627 billion.
Billion. With a B.
Yes. Let's just focus on the United States for a moment to get a sense of the scale. In the U.S. alone, consumers return 3.5 billion products every single year.
3.5 billion items. That is staggering.
And the value of those returned goods is $816 billion. Just to put that in perspective, that is more money than the entire national defense budget of the United States.
That is... I can't even wrap my head around that number.
Mhm.
And the research says shoppers in places like Germany and the UK return a similarly massive percentage of their online orders too, right?
Exactly. It is a global phenomenon.
Okay, I understand it is a huge volume of stuff, but let's look at the actual mechanics of it. Like, don't they just receive my box, open it up, check that the shoes are clean, and put them back on a warehouse shelf for the next person to buy?
That is the logical assumption. I think that's what we all assume happens. But it ignores the brutal mathematics of e-commerce logistics.
Okay, break the math down for me. Let's trace the exact steps.
All right, first, a delivery driver has to pick up your package. That costs the company money in fuel and hourly wages.
Makes sense.
Then the package goes to a regional sorting facility. Then it is loaded onto a massive truck and driven to a specialized returns warehouse.
So it's traveling quite a bit.
A lot. Once it arrives, a human worker has to physically cut open the box. They have to take the item out and inspect it very carefully for stains, damage, or missing parts.
Which takes a lot of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it is clothing, they might actually have to wash it, steam it, and fold it perfectly so it looks new again.
Right, nobody wants to buy a wrinkled shirt.
Then they have to find a brand new plastic bag, print a new barcode label, and physically walk it back to the correct location in a warehouse that might be the size of 3 football fields.
Okay, I see where this is going. If I bought a cheap t-shirt for $10 and it cost the company $4 in shipping,
Plus maybe $11 in human labor and warehouse space just to process that return.
they're spending $15 just to save a $10 shirt. The math simply fails.
Exactly. The math does not work. For many companies, especially those selling fast fashion, basic electronics, or large, heavy items like mattresses, the cost of processing the return is much higher than the manufacturing cost of the item itself.
Wait, I have to challenge this logic for a second.
Go for it.
I hear what you are saying about the $15 cost to process a $10 shirt. But surely these massive corporations care about their public image.
Right, PR is important.
If a news camera catches them dumping tons of brand new clothes or perfectly good electronics straight into a landfill, the public relations disaster would cost them way more than $15 a shirt, wouldn't it?
That is an excellent point. And it is exactly why the industry uses middlemen.
Middlemen, how does that work?
They do not just drive a company-branded truck to the local garbage dump. That would be too risky. Instead, they sell these massive piles of returns to third-party liquidators for pennies on the dollar.
Okay, so what is a liquidator exactly?
Liquidators are companies that buy junk in bulk without knowing exactly what is inside the boxes. They just buy a whole pallet of returns.
Like a mystery box.
Exactly. They might try to resell the best items at local flea markets or deep discount stores, but if the liquidator cannot sell the items, the liquidator is the one who throws them into the landfill.
Ah, so it is a clever way of hiding the process.
Exactly. The main brand keeps its hands clean, legally, and in the press, but the result is exactly the same.
Perfectly good products are destroyed simply because of a logistics equation.
Yes. There are entire mountains of trash, globally made up of brand new products simply because they were the wrong color or slightly the wrong size.
And it was just cheaper to throw them away than to restock them. That is so depressing.
It really is. And because returns have become so incredibly expensive for retailers, they are actually starting to change the rules quietly.
How so?
They are starting to punish consumers through secret databases.
Oh, I read about this in the research. It has a lot to do with a trend called wardrobing.
Yes, wardrobing.
What exactly is wardrobing and how are companies fighting it?
Wardrobing is essentially a form of return fraud. It is when a customer buys a very expensive item like a designer dress or a very large flat-screen television, uses it once for a weekend party or a special event, and then returns it on Monday for a full refund.
So they basically treat the store like a free rental service.
Exactly. And because this practice completely ruins the inventory and costs retailers millions of dollars, the stores are fighting back. They are using third-party data companies to track the behavior of every individual shopper.
But how do they actually track you? I mean, if I know I return a lot of things to a store, I might just use a different email address or check out as a guest.
Unfortunately for us, changing your email address is not enough anymore. These tracking algorithms are very sophisticated.
What else are they looking at?
They use something called device fingerprinting. It literally tracks the specific hardware, like the actual laptop or phone you are using to browse the internet.
Wow, really?
Yeah. They track your IP address, your physical shipping address, and the digital signature of your credit card. The algorithm takes all this data and calculates your personal return rate.
Like a secret score.
Exactly. And if you are flagged as a serial returner, someone who returns too high a percentage of what they buy, You will be put on a blacklist.
And what happens if you're on the blacklist?
You might walk into a physical store to make a completely normal return, and the computer system at the register will simply reject it and refuse to give you your money back.
That would be so embarrassing.
In some extreme cases, they will permanently ban you from shopping with their brand ever again.
It is wild to think there's a secret algorithm out there calculating whether I am allowed to return a sweater.
It sounds like science fiction, but it's happening right now.
But this massive waste of perfectly good products and the endless shipping back and forth, it brings us to the next logical consequence of all this.
The environmental impact.
Yes, all of this connects directly to the environmental impact of how we shop. As consumers, we hear so many conflicting messages. We want to make choices that are good for the planet, but the data can be really confusing.
It is very confusing, mostly because the environmental variables change completely depending on the specific situation.
Let's break it down. Let's look at the transportation mechanics first.
Okay. At first glance, online shopping actually seems like the much greener, more environmentally friendly choice.
Really? Why is that?
Well, imagine a traditional shopping scenario. Imagine 120 different people get into 120 individual cars. They all turn their engines on, drive across town to a shopping mall, park, shop, and then drive all the way home.
Right. That requires a massive amount of fuel and emits a huge volume of carbon dioxide, or CO2.
Okay. Now compare that to the e-commerce model.
Instead of 120 cars on the road, you just have one single delivery truck.
Right. One truck driving a very carefully planned, optimized route. It makes 120 drop-offs at people's front doors in a single neighborhood.
So mathematically, one truck engine running all day is better than 120 car engines starting and stopping.
Yes, exactly. A delivery truck engine runs hot all day, which is actually way more efficient.
A hot engine is better.
Yes, a passenger car doing a short trip suffers from something called a cold start, where the engine actually pollutes significantly more in the first 5 minutes before it warms up. So looking just at that, the delivery truck is the clear winner.
But the research points out a massive exception to this rule. Here is where it gets really interesting. There is a concept called the break-even point.
The break-even point.
Basically, the research asks, at what distance does traditional shopping suddenly become better for the environment than online shopping?
And what is the magic number?
The studies show that the magic number is 14 kilometers, which is about 8.5 miles. If you, the consumer, live less than 14 kilometers from a physical store, getting in your car and doing traditional shopping might actually produce fewer emissions than ordering it online.
Wait, how does the math work on that? If the truck is so efficient, why does distance matter so much?
Because the e-commerce system relies on massive centralized warehouses. And those warehouses are usually built very far outside the city limits where land is cheap.
I see.
So if you live 5 kilometers from a local store, you only drive 10 kilometers total for a round trip. But if you order that exact same item online, the delivery truck might have to drive 100 kilometers from the regional warehouse just to reach your neighborhood before it even begins its local route.
So that massive extra distance the truck travels completely erases the engine efficiency.
Exactly. And this is especially true if you do something called trip chaining.
Trip chaining, that's when you combine multiple tasks into one journey, right?
Exactly. If you stop at the local shoe store on your way home from the grocery store, the environmental cost of buying those shoes is almost zero because you are already driving that route anyway.
That makes a lot of sense.
Or obviously, if you take a bus, ride a bicycle, or just walk to a local store, traditional shopping wins easily.
No emissions at all. And we also have to remember that transportation fuel is only one half of the environmental equation here.
What's the other half?
We have to look at the mechanics of the packaging problem.
Oh, the cardboard.
The endless cardboard. Think about how goods arrive at a traditional retail store. A physical store receives items shipped in bulk. The store might receive one large, thick cardboard box that contains, say, 50 folded shirts.
Very efficient packaging.
Very. But in the e-commerce model, that bulk efficiency disappears completely. Every single shirt must be individually processed.
Because they're all going to different houses.
Exactly. Because of shipping logistics and those crazy automated conveyor belts in the warehouses, every single item needs its own structural protection.
So what does that look like for one t-shirt?
A single t-shirt gets placed into a plastic poly bag to protect it from rain on your porch. Then, that bag is placed into a larger cardboard box.
Seems like overkill for a shirt.
It gets worse. Sometimes it is stuffed with plastic air pillows so the shirt doesn't shift around in the box. This creates literal mountains of household waste.
I feel like my recycling bin is always full of Amazon boxes.
Everyone's is. We are throwing millions of tons of single-use plastics and cardboard into recycling bins and trash cans every single day, just to support the convenience of home delivery.
And when we combine this packaging problem with the return problem we discussed earlier, it creates an absolute environmental disaster.
The worst example of this is definitely the clothing dilemma.
Let's talk about that. Because when you shop online, you obviously cannot use a fitting room. You cannot hold the jeans up to your waist to see if they fit.
Right, you just have to guess based on a chart.
So consumers have invented a practice to solve this called bracketing.
Bracketing. This is when a shopper buys the exact same item in multiple sizes.
Right. Because shipping is often free and returns are often free, a customer will buy the exact same pair of jeans in a size medium, a size large, and a size extra large.
All in one order.
Yes. Their plan is to try all three on in their own bedroom, keep the one that fits perfectly, and send the other two back.
Which completely destroys any environmental benefit that the single delivery truck provided in the first place.
How bad is the impact of bracketing?
It's huge. When a consumer brackets their purchases, they are tripling the packaging waste immediately. 3 bags, bigger boxes.
And more emissions.
Yes. They are doubling the transportation emissions because those 2 rejected pairs of jeans have to travel all the way back through the reverse supply chain.
Which takes fuel and trucks.
And, as we established earlier, because of the high processing costs at the warehouse, those 2 returned pairs of jeans might be sold to a liquidator and thrown directly into a landfill anyway.
So the environmental cost of buying that one pair of jeans becomes absolutely astronomical.
It really does. It's a cascading effect of waste.
So let's look at the whole picture we've painted so far. We have a digital system designed with A/D testing to trigger psychological panic and dopamine rushes.
Right.
We have a logistics system where it is actually cheaper to throw brand new items into landfills than to restock them.
Yes.
And we have an environmental mess of cardboard and plastic waste. With all of these negatives attached to giant online retailers, we naturally have to look at the alternative.
Which is physical businesses in our own local towns.
Right. But I want to ask you the critical question directly as the expert here.
Okay, go ahead.
When I am standing in a local hardware store and I see a tool that costs $25, but I know I can pull out my phone and buy the exact same tool online for $20. Honestly, is it really worth it for me to pay that extra $5 to the small local business?
If we look at the mechanics of macroeconomics, the answer is a very strong yes. It is absolutely worth it to pay the extra $5.
Really? Why?
The reason comes down to a vital economic concept called the local multiplier effect.
The local multiplier effect. Okay, explain that to me.
This concept does not just look at how much you spend, it measures what happens to the money after you spend it.
Where the money goes next.
Exactly. Based on multiple economic studies in our sources, when you spend $100 at a local independent business, about 45 to 48 of those dollars stay and recirculate within your local economy.
Okay, so nearly half the money stays local. How does that compare to the big national companies?
If you spend that same $100 at a large national chain store like a massive supermarket or a big box retailer, only about $14 stays in the local economy.
That's a big drop. From $45 down to $14?
And it gets worse. If you spend that $100 at a giant online mega retailer, almost $0 stay in your community.
Zero.
None of it. Almost none. The only local economic benefit from an online purchase is a few minutes of hourly wages paid to the local delivery driver who drops the box on your porch.
Wow.
All the profit, all the administrative costs, all the marketing money, it instantly leaves your town and travels across the country to a corporate headquarters.
That is a massive difference. Almost $50 staying in my town versus basically $0. But how exactly does that money move around? I want to understand the mechanism. In the notes, it reminded me of a pinball machine.
A pinball machine is actually a perfect analogy for the local multiplier effect. Let's break down how the ball bounces around town.
Let's do it.
Economists categorize these bounces into 3 stages: direct, indirect, and induced impacts.
Okay, let's trace a specific scenario so I can picture this. Let's say I buy a $20 book from a locally owned independent bookstore on Main Street. Where does the pinball go first?
That $20 is the direct impact. The bookstore owner takes your money. The ball hits the first bumper when the owner uses a portion of that $20 to pay the wages of the local high school student working at the cash register.
Okay, so the student gets paid. Where does the indirect impact come in?
The indirect impact happens because the bookstore is an independent business. They do not have a corporate headquarters in another state providing free services.
Right, they have to do everything themselves.
So the bookstore owner hires a local accountant in town to do their taxes. They pay a local graphic designer to make a new sign for the front window. They hire a local plumber to fix the sink in the bathroom.
So the pinball is bouncing off all these different local businesses, spreading my original $20 around.
Exactly. The local business needs other local businesses to survive.
That makes total sense. And what about the third stage, the induced impact?
The induced impact looks at the workers. That high school student working the register takes the wages they earn from your $20 and they go buy lunch at the local sandwich shop.
Bouncing again.
Right. And the local accountant takes the money they earn from the bookstore and they buy a membership at the local gym.
It just keeps going.
Studies show that because of this pinball effect, a single dollar spent locally can change hands and recirculate up to 6 times within the community before it finally leaves.
That is incredible. So when I buy from a massive online retailer, the flippers on the pinball machine are just completely broken.
That's a great way to put it. The ball goes straight down the middle on the very first shot, and the money disappears from your town instantly.
By shopping locally, I am literally keeping the ball in play. I am indirectly paying for my neighbors' jobs.
You are.
I am helping to fund the local schools and repair the local roads because all of those local businesses and workers are paying local taxes.
Exactly. You are investing in your own environment. And it is important to note that the multiplier effect is not exactly the same for every single type of business.
Some are better than others.
Yeah, some local businesses keep even more money in the community than others. Local restaurants, for example, have some of the highest multiplier effects of all.
Really? Why is a restaurant better than, say, a local clothing store?
Because of the labor and the supply chain, restaurants are incredibly labor-intensive.
Right. They need a lot of staff.
They require cooks, servers, dishwashers, hosts, and managers. A huge percentage of their revenue goes directly into local payroll.
And what about the food they buy?
That's the other big part. Local, independent restaurants are much more likely to buy their raw materials locally. A local cafe might buy their bread from the bakery down the street and their vegetables from a local farmer.
Whereas a local clothing store
is still importing the clothes from a huge factory overseas. So the money leaves the community faster. The restaurant keeps the pinball bouncing much, much longer.
Wow, that makes me feel a lot better about spending a little extra money at my favorite local cafe.
You should. It's great for your town.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, peeling back the layers of a system we all interact with basically every day. Let's try to summarize all the mechanics we have learned.
Good idea. There's a lot here.
We now understand that we are fighting our own biology when we shop online. Our brains just want that quick dopamine hit from the anticipation of buying.
And e-commerce websites use A/B testing and artificial scarcity to force us into fast, emotional decisions.
Right, the flashing red text.
Yeah.
And then we also explored the physical reality of the reverse supply chain. We learned that the free return process is actually a logistical nightmare.
Because it costs so much money to process a return through warehouses and human labor, which is why companies use middlemen to quietly dump perfectly good products into landfills.
Such a waste. We also looked at the environmental map, realizing that while delivery trucks do have efficient engines, the excessive cardboard packaging completely ruins it.
The packaging, the distance from warehouses, and the awful habit of bracketing sizes all completely ruin any environmental benefits of online shopping.
And finally, we broke down the local multiplier effect, proving that paying a few extra dollars at a local store acts like a pinball machine, keeping wealth circulating safely inside our own communities.
It is a vast, complex system. But I think understanding how it all works actually empowers us to change our behavior.
I completely agree. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? How can you actually apply this knowledge to your daily life?
Based on the research, there is some very practical, actionable advice to help you break these online habits.
Give us the first tip.
First, you need to introduce friction back into your digital life.
How do I do that?
Go into your web browser and go into your favorite shopping apps on your phone and delete your saved credit card information. Just wipe it out.
Turn off one-click buying entirely.
Yes. Force yourself to physically get up from the couch, find your wallet, and manually type in those 16 numbers every single time you want to buy something.
That is an excellent strategy. That tiny delay, that physical friction of typing, gives your rational prefrontal cortex a chance to wake up.
Exactly. It overrides the emotional panic of the amygdala. Another highly effective strategy in the research is implementing the 24-hour rule.
I like the sound of this. How does that work in practice?
If you see something you want online, go ahead and put it in your digital shopping cart, but do not click buy. Close the website and force yourself to wait a full 24 hours.
Let the dopamine wear off.
Exactly. Because dopamine is a temporary chemical spike, the emotional urgency and the fear of missing out will fade naturally as the hours pass.
And by the next day.
By the next day, you will likely look at your cart and realize you do not actually need the item at all. You get to enjoy the anticipation, the high, without spending the money or creating the waste.
I'm definitely going to try that. And finally, when it comes to holidays or birthdays, consider changing what you buy for people.
Yes, this is a great local tip.
Instead of buying physical goods online, consider buying gift certificates for local experiences.
Like what?
Buy a gift card for a dinner at an independent restaurant, or buy tickets to a local theater or a local museum.
That's brilliant. Experiences do not require cardboard packaging.
Right. They do not require cross-country shipping, they cannot end up in a landfill, and they provide a massive boost to your local economy because of that restaurant multiplier effect we talked about.
Those are incredibly powerful ways to shift the system just through daily choices.
Absolutely.
And to leave you with one final thought for this deep dive. Imagine if e-commerce websites were completely transparent about the hidden mechanics we discussed today.
Imagine if the digital price tag on a cheap $10 online t-shirt didn't just show the dollar amount.
Right. What if that price tag also lifted the mathematical probability of its trip to the local landfill?
And the exact carbon emissions of its packaging.
And the precise amount of wealth it drains directly from your local neighborhood's economy.
If you could see that hidden X-ray of the true cost, if all those invisible mechanics were suddenly visible on your screen, would that cheap deal still trigger a dopamine rush in your brain?
That's definitely something to think about.
I know I will be thinking about that the next time I am tempted by an avocado slicer at midnight. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you on the next SideQuest.